we're going to jump into a perspective that may be a lot closer to home for you, and that of an interior designer. Quick show of hands, how many people are trade professionals in the audience? Okay, good, the majority of you. Mark Cutler is a prominent designer from Los Angeles. Born in Australia, he has that cool accent. That's probably why he's so successful in business. I'm convinced of it. People from the UK, Australia, New Zealand, everyone just loves to hear them talk, and they go ahead and hire him. But you know, for obvious talent, though, you know, as affirmed by Yetta magazine, Rob Report has rated his firm as one of the top 40 design firms in the U.S. Not a small feat by any stretch of the imagination. He also, in addition to being an interior designer, is a product designer, has designed textiles as well as scents for the atmosphere of a home, and also works with lighting design. He's very comprehensive. One of the reasons why I invited Mark to be here, because there certainly are many talented design professionals out there, is that in a conversation I was having with Mark 2 months ago, I think, maybe 2 months ago. I was actually in Sao Paulo on business, and I was finally caught up with this guy because he's so busy. And he said, you know, I saw this coming. He goes, I saw this coming, and he goes, I lowered my debt and, you know, and raised our cash reserves, and, you know, we're going to do just fine. And I was like, am I talking to a design firm? I was really surprised and astounded, and as I've had the opportunity of getting to know Mark a little better, I think that he has something to share with us. So without further ado, Mr. Mark Cutler. Thank you.
G'day. I think Lloyd probably exaggerates our position a little bit. You know, we did see this coming only in the sense that I think there's an expression when you're the guy washing your car as a real estate broker, you know the boom is about to end. So we didn't necessarily know that the end of the good times were coming when they came, but we knew that the coming was inevitable. So, you know, about 2 years ago, you know, we were a profitable company, we were doing very well, but we were getting to the end of the year and there wasn't a whole lot of money left, but we were living the high life. So I sat down with my business manager and was like, look, what would happen if, you know, 2 of our best clients were to walk out the door tomorrow? Where would we be? And so we developed a strategy to try to make us, to some extent, recession-proof. So we, as people started to leave the company and we went through natural attrition, we started not replacing people. Our draftsman, our renderer, our accountant, were all people that we started outsourcing to, so that should time start to slow down, these aren't bills that I have to keep paying, so that we can then sort of lower our cost, you know, commensurate with the way our projects were going. We started building cash reserves. We would sit every Monday morning, go over our P&Ls, work out how much money we could put aside. We started examining, you know, what were the profitable parts of our company. You know, were we making more money on drapery or outdoor furniture or carpeting, so that we really knew where our profit centers lay, and really started looking at our business like any business would look at their business. So that as time started to slow down, we started implementing strategies. And I tell my staff that the slower we get, the more busy we have to become, the more energy we have to put into things. And I have friends who, you know, work sort of in the same level I do. We go out on interviews against each other all the time, you know, who are slowing down, who are now, you know, spending hours at the gym. My hours at the office are increasing as times start to slow, because there's a lot more I can do, and a lot more of these marketing plans and strategies and things that I have that I now finally have the time to implement. And I think the fact that we sort of had a sort of a planned strategy and a planned market outreach kind of allowed us to develop a client base that was strong and that was targeted, so that should the economy turn, that our client base were people who were in industries, you know, especially in Los Angeles, the entertainment industry, that is to some extent recession-proof. So we have a lot of entertainment-based clients, and that was sort of an outreach that we did. We made friends with people who worked in the studios. We made friends with agents, managers, business managers and things, to really sort of like, this is who I want to be working for, because when the CEOs and things are going out of business, when my Merrill Lynch clients are stopped calling, I can always be sure that, you know, the head at Universal is going to be calling me. The other thing that we implement, which I really sort of encourage my friends and things to do too, is that there's a whole lot of marketing and positioning that you can do that doesn't cost a lot of money. So for firms that maybe don't have the access to publicists or whatever, and I always talk about it's the simple things. When you call the office, it's not just, and you get the if you get the answering machines, probably after 10 o'clock, but it's always like, it's not just a matter of, we're not here now, please leave a message. It's, welcome to Mark Cutler Design, one of the top 40 design firms in the country. Please leave a message and someone will follow through with you. Every member who works for me, all 6 of my staff, all have exactly the same voicemail messages on their cell phones. They're all on all of their email sign-offs, it has that as well. So there's a lot of simple things. Every piece of postage that goes out of our office, the postage stamps are all personalized. They all have an image of one of our projects on them. I write a blog, and which also sort of positions us as well in terms of our Google searches and things like that. All of these things are free. And so not only sort of we do look at the big picture of stuff, but we also look at the little images. On the blog situation, which I think is sort of probably a subject for a whole other discussion, but we just got 2 huge projects from a Russian family from blogs that they had seen me post 2.5 years ago. And one was a 10,000 square feet of commercial space, another was a $10 million house, and I'm going to Moscow in 2 weeks to start interviewing with friends of their family. And so these are sort of those little things that when you look at marketing and positioning and sort of your business strategy, that you just never know when that tipping point is going to come. You never know when it's going to be someone looking at the postage and thinking, wow, this guy really has his stuff together. And so there's sort of those sorts of things. The other thing we do as well is, the cheapest client to get is the client you already have. So we have a sort of a table and calendar in our office saying after 1 year, every client gets a call back about how's your outdoor furniture doing, because it's starting to wear at this point. I think it's time that we freshen it up. Or if you've got silk draperies, you get a call after 18 months. Isn't it time that we start looking at those draperies because they're starting to fade in the living room? And while I'm there, let me take a look at the guest room. And so being able to sort of recycle those clients, because those clients are already the true believers, are the people who already love you, who are already willing to sort of work with you. And that sort of stuff is sort of money in the bank. And I had a funny story. We had one client, a large house, and we called up about doing some work in his guest room. And while I was out there, I noticed that the teak furniture was starting to wear. He was like, you know what? I'm really kind of getting sick of teak. Why don't we go with something in bronze? And it ended up being a $125,000 order. And so that sort of thing is really sort of, don't overlook that in sort of in your moment of fear. And that's what we do and did.
That's good stuff. Two things jumped out in particular. One thing that the blogs that he had written 2 years ago, seeds that were planted 2 years ago are coming to fruition today. So, this industry is long-term perspective. For those of you who've just started, know that it does take time. For those of you that have been doing this 10 years, know that the next big lead can be right around the corner. And that's the beauty. That's one of the reasons why I've embraced this industry, is because your next big project could be tomorrow. So if you're kind of feeling a little despair today, know that do a few things and it can immediately change. And maybe because of nothing you've done today other than having a positive attitude, might be something you did before. And the other thing, the voicemail message is a good one. I was listening to a voicemail message for a colleague in New York who said, "Hi, this is Jason. He's in the contract furniture industry. Blah blah blah. Leave a message. And here's your leadership thought for the day. Good things come to those who wait, but only what's left over from those who hustled." Mark, you're a hustler, in every good term of it. Thank you so much.